So lately, I've actually managed to have fun with the new Tier 3 platoon, and I would say the most fun vehicle is surprisingly, well, this thing. I know that I was quite critical of the SU-100Y because it was, well, it still is a huge, very huge tank, and it is still slow, but I somehow managed to get used to this tank, and I've actually managed to start doing pretty well with this vehicle. It is still difficult to control. It is still, well, I say difficult to control. It is kind of difficult to drive this thing around since it's huge, and you really have to know where to position it in order to basically do as much damage as possible. And I think this video will show you some of the positions on most of the maps that we have in the game. So I'll start with this map, the icy map. Funny how I still don't know the exact names of these maps. I just call them the ice map. I know the names of 3 maps, but the original maps, I still don't really know their names. Now, since your reverse speed is 4 km/h, it is very important that you can quickly move to cover if necessary. So, I started to drive the vehicle in this way. Basically, position myself so I have room for going forward, and basically quickly going into cover for the reload. Now, thankfully, the vehicle isn't that slow when you want to go forward. It actually gets from point A to point B in a very decent time frame, and the reload, as I mentioned in the previous video, isn't really that bad. It does reload fairly fast. After all, this is a naval gun, so it's a huge gun and a huge shell. You have to rely on your team in basically occupying the enemy, so you can move out of cover to shoot, and basically it is ideal to quickly just go forwards into cover for the reload. Now, I've also started to move around with the vehicle. When I say move around, basically when I have to go back to my original position, I do a U-turn, and I basically can do this while reloading, so it doesn't really waste a lot of time waiting. And when you do that, you can quickly go back in action pretty quickly, and it is maybe the way to go with the vehicle if you are basically starting with this thing, since it is still kind of difficult to drive. But if you play this tank properly, you are not going to be taking any hits from enemy tanks, since you can quickly move to cover by going forward. And this is kind of the opposite of what I've been doing with the previous tanks. Usually you go backwards to go back in cover. Well, with this thing, because of its non-existent reverse speed, you actually have to move forward to go back in cover. And that kind of popped in my mind this morning, and I decided to test out the theory, and it works so far. It works really well. And it's good to mention that the gun it seems to be doing a bit more damage. Now, there was a little update this morning, and I don't know what, maybe they changed some of the stats, maybe they changed some of the parameters on the gun, but the gun feels different now. It feels like a proper 130mm gun, so I can say that they definitely did something with this vehicle in one of the last mini updates. So I don't know if it's mentioned anywhere, but the tank feels different now. At least the main gun does feel different, and it still has the same ammo, still has only 2 ammo types, SAP and HE. I haven't used HE because you don't really have to use HE, since it has enough penetration to just go through anything, although sometimes, as we have seen in the last video, sometimes it bounces lightly armored vehicles for some reason, so it has that trolley aspect to it. Now, the vehicle is still, I would say, not the ideal vehicle for carrying the team. After all, the long reload is kind of the, I would say, the main issue with being able to carry the team with a tank that can shoot quickly. That, you know, doesn't really mean the caliber of the weapon doesn't mean that it will kill the tank in one hit. It usually does, since, you know, a high caliber shell, when it penetrates, it tends to do more damage, but with a fast firing cannon you can still kill a tank in one hit if you hit the tank in the proper spot. So a fast firing vehicle definitely has the advantage to be able to carry the team, but this tank can also kind of carry the team in some certain situations, especially if you're positioned in such a way that you can disable the enemy vehicles without taking any hits, or basically without having the danger of being shot at by enemy tanks. And that was a good hit, actually. This cannon, I mean, that was a I'm surprised that that tank got killed, since I hit the back of the tank, but it somehow killed the whole vehicle. So they definitely did change. I feel like they changed the mechanics of this shell, which, you know, I would say it's a good thing, since the main gun didn't really feel like I only had a 30mm gun, but now it actually kind of feels like that. So the other thing about the 100Y is you should stick try to stick at the back of the map, because you don't really want to be exposed in the open with this vehicle, since again it's huge, and since it's such a huge target, you don't want to be exposed to the flank. You don't want to have enemy tanks be able to flank you. So basically you have to find a position far away, very close to, well, around the spawn point, but definitely try to find a vantage point where you can see enemy tanks, of course, but not a vehicle that is designed to go forward. I mean, you can go forward if you have support, but when you are like this, in my position here, which will be like 80-90% of the games, you want to have an open field, and basically you want to have the advantage of seeing the enemy before the enemy sees you. And on this map it's quite easy to pull this off. You have a lot of cover, and you also have positions where you can go to right on the very start, where you can snipe. So this tank is a sniper. Definitely, I mean, it can bounce shells. The armor isn't bad, but it's such a big target that you don't really have to aim for the weak spots. Just shoot anywhere on the vehicle, and if you have a good gun, it will just go through the 100Y's armor from the front. The side armor, as you can see, it's quite flat, so anything can go through that. So that's one of the reasons why you don't want to be exposed. After all, look at the size of this thing. It's huge, so of course it's a huge flat surface, and most of the shells will easily just go through the armor. So front armor exposed and a sniper, and you are good to go with this vehicle. And honestly, it feels kind of like a oversized KV2. I mean, it kind of does resemble the KV2 with the whole box design. It is the super fridge, well, super fridge, yeah, freezer, I guess, the freezer with a naval gun. I don't know what kind of nicknames this thing has, but it looks like, in this case, this is one of the rare occasions where I'm attempting to carry the game, since it's definitely not looking good for our team. We are losing, and we are also running out of tanks, surprisingly. Well, I say surprisingly, I'm not really surprised. The team was feeding the enemy team from the very start. Now when you're in this case, when in this situation, angle the armor and go forwards. Going backwards isn't going to lead anywhere, because, you know, it's slow, so you really have to move forward to go in cover. Now, go forward to go back in cover doesn't really sound productive. It doesn't really sound like it makes any sense, right? Well, with this vehicle it makes sense, because you have to move forward to go in cover. If you have cover in front, it's the way to go with this vehicle. And thankfully, this thing just slaps. So I was able to disable those 2 vehicles. Kill number 7, and we are losing zone A. That means I have to go forward and see who is around zone C. Actually, no, this is zone A. I'm at zone A. Okay. So rushing forward, I still might be able to pull off a victory here. It all depends on this moment here. Now I'm not really sure what tank is waiting for me. Oh, it's this thing. Lovely. And it bounces. Oh, of course it bounces. Why would it penetrate? This is one of those moments where the gun is behaving in a very, very trolly way and it doesn't really want to do much. Well then, time to do the other thing that this thing is good at. It has a good engine and you can push things around. So, full speed ahead and let's brawl with the T1E1. That's right, let me pin this thing at the wall. I bet they like that. Though, obviously they can't penetrate my armor, since we are literally point blank. So I'm still trying to move forward and push the thing, hoping to buy enough time for my team to start capturing the zones, and it seems like it's working. We have captured zone C. I'm still pushing the vehicle. I think I blocked and they can't move anymore. Still pushing. I have the side armor view on them. Wish I had my gun active. I would be able to shoot. Moving forward. I did launch the artillery. Still moving forward, full speed ahead. The teammate is capturing zone B. My idea seems to be working. The enemy tank is now blocked. They can't move. They can't move and they seem like having some trouble with my main gun being in the way. They're trying to shoot while they do hit, but I'm in such a position that they can't really disable the vehicle. The ammo is stored in a very nice position, so it can't really detonate my ammo that easily. And I'm still going forward. And the artillery did wreck the tank. That was a awesome moment, not gonna lie. That was awesome. And my teammate was reading my mind, and they went on a base capture spree. And as we see, that worked. My idea here paid off. It paid off really well, actually. So that's one of the rare moments where this vehicle was able to save the day. And that was a very good carry. A very good carry. Wish I did not bounce, but you know, it made the whole thing just, I guess, more interesting. And that was a victory. It was a good, solid victory with this thing. As you can see, a bit of practice with the vehicle, and I started to do really well with it. So, let's go on to the next map. Now, on this map is good for snipers, and there are several positions where you can go to. Now, on this particular game mode, I like to go in a little position which is kind of hard to see because obviously there is a lot of grass, and I really should start using the really should start using the medium graphics a lot more, because I don't see anything. That's the main reason. I don't see anything. I don't see anything. The graphics sure look nice, but let me tell you, I don't see anything. And this is also with ray tracing enabled, so yeah, definitely the best possible graphics that you can get at the moment. That was a good hit, actually. The shell started to do the secondary explosive damage, and very glad that they did seem to be. I think they changed this vehicle a bit, so I'm very glad that that's happened. Now this position, as mentioned, is fantastic. As you can see, you have cover from the rock, and you also have a decent cover. You can also technically go backwards in cover, but as we have already seen with this vehicle, going backwards is not really the option, so you can position yourself in such a way that you go back to cover and, you know, spin around and return to the original position. But you have a good view on the base, and you sure have the advantage by being able to see the incoming tanks before they see you. This is where the fast speed, well, this is where the forward speed goes. Well, does work really well on this vehicle. And I think they also changed the map a little bit. I don't remember seeing that slope. Actually, I don't know. It feels like they changed the map again. Now that was a lucky hit. Not my hit, but that French medium tank was lucky to hit. Wasn't planned, but yeah, they managed to. I mean, lucky hit. This thing is huge, so not really difficult to hit, even if you don't aim that much, since you know you can easily just fire and hope that it will hit, and it most likely will, since this is a huge boxy tank. Well then, the repairs sure feel like they take a while. I feel like the repairs on the vehicle take 10-15 seconds longer than on the other premiums. Not really sure if that's planned or if that's because of the sheer size of the thing, but the repair time feels a bit longer than usual. And the crew replacement also seems to take longer than usual. It is maxed out, the skills, the crew, everything is maxed out on this vehicle, so not really sure why it feels so slow, not sure why it is so slow in repair, but that's how it is. Alright, well, it is definitely nice that I figured out one tactic to drive the vehicle. I was kind of very curious to see if... oh look, SU-122, and that was a good hit. I was very well, curious to see if I could manage to get this thing to work the way I want it to work. Wanna bet that those bombs will just... yeah, I can feel that bomber doing a U-turn for me. Just watch. I feel like the bombs are about to drop on this tank in a second. But yeah, I was very... there we go. Yep, there the bombs. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? Of course they drop bombs on me. They always do. Now, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I was very... well, kind of disappointed that the vehicle wasn't really up to my expectations, so I did try to find solutions, and I found a solution, and now this tank is actually quite fun. Definitely, you know, have to play this vehicle a bit more, I guess, more careful, but it is definitely a fun vehicle to drive around. That huge cannon definitely makes a big difference now. I mean, the update is called Big Guns, so you definitely can expect some big guns to come out of that. And now I think we are going to win this match as well. I have 5 kills, which is pretty good, pretty solid, I would say. Could have been more, but I'm not going to get too greedy. I'm just going to say it was pretty good. Especially since I'm driving not a easy to drive vehicle. This thing is quite difficult to control. So it definitely has a learning curve, as that I mentioned in one of the previous videos as well. Maybe I do get one more kill, we will see, but so far it seems like we are... I could have shot that vehicle there, just wasn't really sure where they would go. So I was waiting to see if they would stop. They didn't, so I could have had more kills, but you know, I'll take this as a good match. Well, the match is still not over, but you know, could have had at least 6 or 7 kills if I was maybe a bit more lucky. I don't know. I mean, luck is a big factor regardless of you know, of a lot of things. Luck is a big factor. Well, and I managed to hit the engine of that tank. Unfortunately, wasn't enough to kill it. So yeah, although it was still a victory, I'll take it. It was a pretty good victory. Very nice work from the team. Alright, well, let's go to the next match, and we have this lovely map again. Now this map is one of the more harder to run maps, although I have ray tracing, and I'm playing upscaled to 4K, so definitely, and I'm recording in 4K as well, so definitely straining the hardware as much as possible, which does have an obvious impact on the frame rate, but you know, it's okay, it's manageable. And you can see the temperature as well. I was very curious to see how hot this gets, and yeah, it does get quite toasty, which is not to be, you know, not surprising after all. It's a very demanding game, the most demanding game on a mobile platform, since it looks exactly like the PC version. Well, there is some differences, but in some of the videos people have said that I'm not playing the mobile version because that's how good it looks. Well, it was the mobile version. It looks good, but it's running on a mobile device, which is impressive with these graphics. And ray tracing. Although honestly, I don't really see much of a difference with ray tracing on or off. I mean, I have it on now, but very little difference. Very little difference with that being on or off. But the impact on frame rate is quite big, which is to be expected. I mean, desktop hardware has the same problem with ray tracing, but this is also running on a phone, so it is impressive the way it is that it's running. So can't really complain about that. Now here I'm playing this vehicle a bit more, as we can see, a bit more aggressively, running around and shooting at stuff. Seems to be working with certain maps where you can have cover. Now this map is known to have a lot of flanks. I mean, you can get flanked at any point basically, which is a good thing, and at the same time it's also, you know, a bad thing. Good thing is the chances that you're going to be flanked is small because of how many flanking spots there are. Bad thing is, if you had bad luck, well, you will get flanked regardless. So this map is also huge. I think it's starting to be one of my favorite maps in the game at the moment. I believe this is going to be one of my favorite maps for sure at one point. Although I still do like the Japan map. I like the American Desert a lot as well. I remember when I played the American Desert the first time, I was confused. That map was very confusing at the start. But now it's definitely one of my favorite maps. I think I struggled a lot more with American Desert than I struggled with this map. With this map was kind of straightforward. Just pick a good vantage point, pick a sniper and just snipe. It works. Or basically hug one of these, well, pieces of land, I guess. I don't know how to call these things there. Hills, I guess. Camp around those hills and flank the enemy. Works really well. And with some vehicles we can also move around the hills and just shoot. That's what I'm doing right now actually. And as you can see, it works really well with this huge box. I call this thing a box because it is a box. I mean, just look at it. I don't know. I think this tank is like 6 meters tall. It's huge. It's very tall. It's tall and has a huge gun. Yeah, girls will love this vehicle for sure. It is tall and has a huge gun. If you know what I'm referring to, you know. That was a good hit as well. Let's kill number 5. Temperature 92 degrees Celsius. That's a lovely temperature there. The new chipset heats up even more, so you are not going to be escaping the heat, even on the new chipsets with this game. Although it does run fairly smooth when I'm not recording, so it does have better frame rate. The recorder, because it does also use the GPU, does reduce frame rate. I mean, everything that I have is reducing frame rate and still has some decent frame rate with the current settings that have applied. Definitely, I still prefer medium settings, honestly, because on medium settings you don't have so much grass. I mean, just look at the grass, like it's everywhere and you can't see anything if you're trying to aim. With the leopards and with the T29, the grass in some certain maps is literally preventing me from playing properly, because I use some positions where you are very low to the ground, right? Where you use the gun depression and you don't see the enemy tank from the grass. You see the grass waving around, right? But you don't see the tank that you want to shoot at, and that's basically one of the main problems that I have with maximum settings. I can't play properly because I don't see anything. So medium settings with high frame rate is the way to go, and that's usually how I play this game. I usually play this game on medium. I play on maximum when I'm recording, just so I can make the game look good for the viewing pleasure. And so far that seems to be working really well. And this is definitely the most aggressive that I played this vehicle so far. Have been basically moving around the whole match, and very happy with how this idea works. You can technically play the vehicle in this way, and you know, it might even be fun, although you really have to have some team support, because you don't want to be flanked. It still is a huge tank and a very big target, so yeah. But it works. And look, a M6A1, and it bounced. Somehow that bounced. One of the moments where you shoot and it doesn't do anything. Well, and my driver kicked the buckets. That's lovely. Although it seems like the gun is reloaded. Let me turn this thing. Now it's not going to bounce. There we go. Nice hit. The driver will be killed quite often, although it does seem that this vehicle doesn't go down that easily. Seems to be, well, it's a big vehicle and there's a lot of room inside, so I guess when a shell goes in you really have to aim accurately if you want to destroy this tank in a single shot, which, as we can see, is kind of difficult unless you're shooting it with some APHE or a high caliber shell, or if you directly hit the ammo. But it seems like hitting the ammo on this tank is a bit, well, it seems to be a bit difficult. So it is surprisingly a robust vehicle that doesn't get killed that easily. Now let's go to the next map. Well then, where do I go? I'll go here. Now, with this vehicle on this map, you can basically go in the middle, in the center, you can go anywhere you like. And I just wanted to check this position out to see if it's going to work. I like how you can see the shadow of the gun on the rock there. You get that when you have ray tracing enabled. It's not showing on maximum settings without ray tracing. So that's kind of a interesting thing that I noticed. Also, there are a lot of different small details like that you get when you enable ray tracing. Well, then I got hit in the gun. Now this position might not be the best for this vehicle, since it's huge, as we have already established. And for this position, the reverse speed is very important. This position is good for tanks that have a good reverse gear. So this vehicle definitely is better off to go directly in the city, I would say. And I think I might even go directly in the city on very soon. Here I'm already moving, since this side seems to be more empty in this round, which is never a good thing, because usually that's when you get flanked, because you think the side is empty. And this position around the rock can also technically be good, although when the base that you have to capture is right here, then that previous position will definitely be the way to go with this vehicle, although it will still work some going forward. And we are about to enter the city, or not. Well, we have a tank somewhere behind that building. I'll just go a bit backwards, just not to expose the sides from the left. And oh look, a SU-152. That's a big gun. Well, mine is longer in this case. Not the higher caliber, but definitely the longer gun. That was a good hit. Now I'll be going a bit backwards here, so I approach the center from a different street. A pizza and a cafe, lovely. Park my tank to grab a pizza and then to go and continue the battle. And speaking of pizza, I'm getting hungry, and it's like 3 a.m. I always get hungry at 3 a.m. I don't know why. Well, actually, I know why. I used to eat a lot at 3 a.m. and I kind of gotten used to it. Food tastes much better when you're grabbing the snack late at night, sneaking to open the fridge. I can confirm it tastes much better. It's kind of funny. It is funny, but yeah. Oh look, a T-34. Well, that was a T-34. And that also was my driver that got yeeted. Now my driver is being they're attaching those arms and legs back together, and as we see, add some super glue and the driver is good as new. Back to driving the vehicle after being shot by a 57mm cannon to the face. Just like that. Some super glue and the driver is back in action. Well then, we have a Comet 1 in the center, okay. Now I'm also looking at the map. You will see me rolling around this building quite often, because I'm very close to the enemy spawn point, and I still see some enemy tanks on the map very close to me. Not really sure where exactly they are, but I'll try to catch them and kill them before they kill me. Well, no one around the corner. Okay, well, I'll move forward. I don't really like to be alone with this vehicle, but in this case I don't have a choice. This is also the continuation of me driving the vehicle in a more... Oh, look at that. Well, hello there. That was a good hit. That was a fantastic hit. A good call to actually go backwards. I expected to meet them head on. Guess not. That was a SU-100Y as well. And am I going to make another U-turn here? I think I am, since apparently for some reason everyone decided to spawn very close to me. And of course I can't go backwards because this thing is slow, so I have to basically circle around and keep killing the tanks that keep coming towards my direction. Oh look! A M18, and well then, my driver took another hit and my driver is being reattached again, so there we go. As I said before, some super glue, just reattach the skull, super glue the arms and legs and put the driver back in the driver position, and as you can see it works. The vehicle keeps on driving. Good as new. Good as new. killed 5 tanks, I believe, which is, I would say, the average that I get with the vehicle, with this thing. Despite how slow, I would say that's actually a good score because of how slow this thing is, and of course it's hard to drive, so can't really ask too much from the SU, but it's still a very fun vehicle. It remains a very fun vehicle, actually. Definitely no complaints. No complaints for me. Well, at least now. I used to... And this is the thing that I like. I like to find solutions to problems, and I definitely find a solution to this thing. And I'm very happy that I managed to find a solution to this thing, because it is fun. I also like the shadows. I mean, just look at the shadows. When you aim, you can see the whole vehicle moving around. I like that. And I was too late for this kill, which is fine. I think we are going to win the match here. Looks like a very solid victory to me, honestly. And yeah, it was victory. Nice. Well then, that was the SU-100Y in the Rampage mode. Definitely a very fun to drive tank, and it has a learning curve to it, but here you could see some of the tactics on how I managed to operate this vehicle. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. If you would like to support me, feel free to like and subscribe, and with that being said, stay safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.